All right, kicking it off with Raw from September 23rd. We had Rhea Ripley revealing to Dominic Mysterio that he would be in a shark cage during his match. And if you go back and you look at some episodes prior of Ring Talk, you'll see I predicted this.
You predicted it.
A couple of months ago, I think.
Whenever you first told me of this idea, I was like, that is genius.
That's genius.
So clearly, you have the same mind of somebody that works for Triple H and that you should be hired.
They should hire me.
They should hire you.
Because I think this is a brilliant idea.
Dude, the first thing I wanted to go do whenever they made the announcement, I went to my phone to text you, and you went to text me at the same time. We were both
I was like,
it's
I called it. Bro, and I think this is a great idea. I think it'll be hilarious. It'll add a bit of comedic segments to that match.
Yep.
And you probably remember when they had Chris Jericho in the shark cage way back when.
Right.
With the whole Kevin Owens, when they had their storyline going on. And there was a lot of comedic moments there. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to see a lot of the similar aspects of that here.
Yeah, definitely. I can see it.
First match of that Raw was Sami Zayn defeating Ludwig Kaiser. Sami Zayn is still on his pursuit to getting a World Heavyweight Championship match against Gunther. And we'll talk about it a bit more, but this Raw, he still didn't get it.
Yeah, the answer was still no.
Still no.
At the time.
Mm-hmm. Dragon Lee defeated Carlito, and there was a lot of LWO versus Judgment Day stuff.
It's really interesting that they're having the side Judgment Day rivalries.
With LWO.
With LWO.
Well, what helps having a 3-hour show is you're able to get all of these talent.
Yeah.
See, that's and it's hard when you have, with SmackDown, they're still currently on a 2-hour show.
Which I completely think that they should just move it to 3 to get everyone more time.
I think it will, but I know Raw is going to be moving to 2 hours here pretty soon.
Yeah, for business reasons.
For a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then it's supposed to turn back to 3. It's just, you almost have a good problem because you have so much talent.
Yeah.
And it's just you just don't have enough time to put everybody on there. With Raw 3 hours, you got plenty of time to feature a whole lot of people.
And with that comes a lot of opportunity to present Raw superstars and SmackDown rivalries as well, if they need that screen time. Mm-hmm. Which, in my opinion, Jey Uso and the Bloodline business would be a good one to start with.
Kind of bring them to Raw, or kind of send Jey Uso to SmackDown kind of deal.
Yeah. And speaking of that, who do you think will be the next challenger for Jey Uso?
Well, let's hold off on that because that's a question I have for a little bit later once we get to the this past Raw.
I got you.
This past Raw.
That makes more sense. That's fair. Because they don't even know that Jey Uso won this night yet.
Yeah, technically.
That's my bad.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
If y'all should know, though.
We had Braun Strowman interrupting Big Bronson Reed's match with The Miz.
Yep.
And
Miz was not very happy.
Two big monsters have been going at it for the past few weeks. And, again, a lot of this stuff I'm getting at, we're going to touch on even a bit more with this next Raw. Drew McIntyre basically just threatens CM Punk for 10 minutes in the middle of the ring.
This is the segment where it's just Drew McIntyre.
Just Drew, because CM Punk had his night the week before, and then Drew was on this week.
It's nice. It's nice to have a full promo from these two guys without having any interference in the middle of it.
And basically, both promos were pretty much the same. They just said how much they hated the other
and why they had to do this.
Why they had to do this, and basically that they're going to kill each other at Bad Blood.
Yep.
Then you had Damage Control defeating the Unholy Union. It's looking like Damage Control is definitely on the warpath to getting those women's tag team titles back.
Yep.
The Creed brothers defeated the New Day. A lot of tension in the New Day.
Yeah.
It is not looking good, and I got a lot of questions for you about that in a little bit.
Yeah.
Then that brings us to the main event. Honestly, absolute shocker.
This should shock everybody.
Jey Uso defeated Braun Breaker for the Intercontinental Championship. Clean.
It was
Defeated
clean.
him clean.
Nothing happened. This was probably the most surprising thing I've seen in a minute. This is something that they need to add to some other stories where I think y'all know which stories I'm talking about. But this, I was like, okay.
It was a shocker. It was a twist.
This is crazy,
I like it. Let me ask you. So, when they brought up Braun Breaker, they showed him as an unstoppable force. I am honestly just surprised, not as much that Jey Uso won the Intercontinental Championship, but just how
quickly it was.
Well, yeah, Braun Breaker's reign really wasn't all that crazy long. I thought it was going to last a whole lot longer.
Yeah.
I thought maybe he was taking it towards the end of the year, maybe, or something like that. But
so that also removes the idea of Braun Breaker versus John Cena for that title at Mania.
Unless something changes in the coming weeks where Braun Breaker
wins it back
somehow.
But we'll talk about it Raw.
Yeah.
We'll talk about
it
Raw. Next
congratulations, Jey Uso. Huge shocker. Huge win. Much deserved, Jey Uso. Been on the main roster for 14 years?
Yeah.
First singles championship. Much well deserved.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk a lot more about Jey Uso and what happens after he won the title in the next Raw, because there's a lot that happened with this, and there's a lot of questions that raised up. There's a lot of foreshadowing, I guess you can say, with what's going to happen with Jey Uso and Braun Breaker. So,
NXT, the last NXT on the USA Network before it moves to the CW.
You got to have a big one.
So you had Kalani Jordan defeating Ren Sinclair of the No Quarter Catch Crew for the NXT Women's North American Championship.
That's right.
You had the NXT Tag Team Champions Axiom and Nathan Frazier on the Grayson Waller effect.
Grayson Waller, special guest of NXT.
Yeah, Austin Theory was there, and these two teams will be going at it on, which we're recording this on Tuesday, so it'll be going on tonight's NXT, the NXT Tag Team Championships. And Axiom and Nathan Frazier, they hinted or teased a lot about how there's been some friction between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller.
Yeah.
They've been kind of stringing this out, but when do you think Austin Theory will turn on Grayson Waller? And if so, when?
Okay. Let's think about this here. We all know that Triple H makes these calls at the right time.
Yeah.
So I feel like whenever it happens, it'll be when it's least expected. I do think it will happen at some point. It's got to. It can't last forever. Soon?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would love to see it. I think we talked about this, last episode or 2 episodes ago or whatever?
Yeah.
Maybe getting them involved with LA Knight and the U.S. title. Maybe if they do a tournament somehow, and maybe Grayson Waller and Austin Theory meet, or however it works out, or maybe Austin Theory gets a title shot and Grayson Waller feels like he deserves one.
Yeah.
And he's jealous of Austin Theory getting a title shot or something like that.
I agree. I feel like if something's going to separate them two, it's going to be between something that has to do with a championship. Maybe not one of them being the champion, but just a championship opportunity that one didn't get or the other. Also, I could just see more of stuff happening rather on the mic rather in the ring.
Now let me ask you, so do you think that it is Grayson Waller? So when it happens, I think the rivalry between the two will be Grayson Waller as the heel, Austin Theory as the babyface.
That's what I think. I've also heard from other people that they think it's the opposite.
I think that's unlikely.
I think it's unlikely because I can see Grayson Waller as the next Miz.
Yeah.
With the Grayson Waller effect, he just has all the persona.
All that cocky personality.
All the cocky persona, yeah. He whenever I see Grayson Waller, I'm like, that's a dude that's going to low blow for the victory. I can't see him as a face.
Yeah.
Ever.
Now, do you think it'll be Grayson Waller that, say, attacks Austin Theory and turns on him? Or do you think it'll be something where Grayson Waller's, pushing Austin Theory a whole lot.
Yeah,
and Austin Theory just stands up for himself and maybe punches Grayson Waller or something. Do you think that's how they go with it, or do you think they'll go the route of just Grayson Waller turning on Austin Theory?
It really depends on like the current rivalry between them two and whatever superstar they're going against. Mm-hmm. If it's like a tag team match and maybe, I don't know. It's really hard to predict when we don't have much to go off of.
Now, I think tonight I think they'll lose the tag team title match. I don't think they're going to win the NXT tag team titles.
I agree.
But I don't think we'll see the full turn tonight. I think that'll happen on a SmackDown.
Yeah.
However, I do think we might see some hints towards it tonight.
I definitely believe that if it's going to happen, it won't be on a small show like NXT because, let's be honest, some people don't have the time to watch NXT and some people don't want to watch it. That's okay. But if we're going to have something as big as this happen, it has to be on a SmackDown or a PLE.
Yeah. Next match for NXT was Hank and Tank defeating the OC. The OC pretty much just trying to elevate Hank and Tank, which I think they're doing because Hank and Tank might be my favorite tag team on NXT. I think
they're great.
I think they're great. I think they're entertaining.
They're entertaining in and outside.
I think they got the personality of like the New Day. And the ring, they're just both monsters.
Do you think they'll be the new Day?
They could, in the sense that they're just kind of like a fun tag team.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. I don't want them to change their name to the New Day. Like, no. But like, yeah. You know what I meant.
Yeah. Next match was Oro Mensah defeating Lexus King. Lexus King was seems like since he was brought in, he's kind of just been the elevate guy. He helps elevate talent, and I want to say I saw an interview where he talked about, that's pretty much his job, but he's still hoping to get an NXT championship, not NXT champion, but a main roster call up. He's looking to be a star on the main roster, maybe not as much NXT.
I can see it.
You know what I'm saying?
I can see it.
Next match was Ridge Holland defeating Riley Osborne
once again.
Chase U.
Once again.
Now here, I thought of this idea the other day, and let me see what you think of it. So, I'm hoping that Ridge Holland joins Shawn Spears and Brooks Jensen.
And
makes that little
before,
group. Yeah. And maybe say they tag on someone else or whatever. I mean, I would love to see maybe a War Games match between Chase U and that group. You know what I'm saying?
If they can pull off starting the rivalry and building the tension between it, I'll be all for it.
I think that'd be super cool.
I feel like it'd be a great way to get.
Now I don't know if they have enough people on each team. Now Chase U, they've got Andre Chase, Riley Osborne, and Duke Hudson.
Yeah.
Which is 3. Which usually, I think War Games, you need at least 4.
Yeah.
So maybe not, but unless they add someone, who knows, whatever. But you're at least, if Ridge Holland joins Shawn Spears and Brooks Jensen, you're at least getting 3-on-3.
Yeah.
So there's definitely a story there that I think could be super cool.
Yeah, I can definitely see at least something happening between that. Mm-hmm. I completely agree that Ridge Holland should definitely join that group and get a new faction there. I feel like that would be pretty interesting,
Yeah.
War Games, though, we can see maybe new members on both sides. Who knows? And Shawn Michaels, we trust. And HBK, we trust.
Next match was Wendy Chu and TNA's Rosemary defeating Brindley Reese and Carmen Petrovic.
Yeah.
And then you had A-Town Down Under defeating Javon Evans and Cedric Alexander. So they're trying to push A-Town Down Under, give them as much hype as possible going into their title match. Yep. And then you got Javon Evans, who they're hyping up for his match against Randy Orton next week on NXT in St. Louis.
What do you feel about Randy Orton showing up on NXT?
I mean, I think they're trying to make these first couple of CW shows as big as possible, get as many eyes on it as possible can. You know, they're bringing in CM Punk for Chicago tonight, and the next week in St. Louis you have Randy Orton.
The really interesting part is that Randy Orton's actually never been in NXT.
No, this will be his first time.
Which is interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how
and he's wrestling a match.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen people like Cody Rhodes and John Cena show up in NXT and make appearances, but they've never wrestled a match in NXT. Randy Orton is wrestling a match in NXT.
Which is interesting, but I'm not against it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
To kind of close out the show, they had, and throughout the show, I forgot to mention, they were having like press conferences, backstage segments, and, you know, they're hyping up Ethan Page and Trick Williams' match for the NXT Championship with CM Punk as a special guest referee. But to close out the show for the Women's NXT Championship, you had Roxanne Perez and Julia kind of just going back and forth, talking, and basically both just kind of trying to one-up the other. Julia had like her translator there, and then they were interrupted by, I feel like I'm going to mispronounce her last name, but Stephanie Vacure. I'll learn it later. But I know I'm not as familiar with her, but I know she has been very hyped up as a new signee for WWE. I believe she's very famous kind of all around the world, kind of similar to like Julia was in Japan. Yeah. I think Stephanie may have wrestled a bit more in like Mexico and stuff like that. But she made her appearance here and basically kind of just told both women to watch their backs.
Maybe a triple threat on the rise. Or she's just going to be the next contender after their match.
Maybe.
But who knows? I feel like the main thing that I question about Julia is is this problem of not being able to speak English going to be the downfall of her career in WWE? Is it going to lead to disinterest?
Look at Io Sky. Look at Kairi Sane. Look at Asuka.
Right. But they pulled it off right. Are they going to pull it off right with her?
I mean, she's got the fans' support behind her.
It's just about company decisions.
Yeah.
But who knows?
SmackDown on September 27th. Show kicked off with the undisputed WWE champion Cody Rhodes trying to explain to Randy Orton why he agreed to team with Roman Reigns. This, I think, is maybe where they're planting the seeds for Randy Orton to turn on Cody Rhodes.
Along with Kevin Owens.
Yeah, Kevin Owens came out as well. Basically the same thing. And they were eventually interrupted by the Bloodline. And Cody tried to challenge them all to like a 6-man tag or whatever. And Kevin Owens was like, no.
Yeah.
He's like, right now, Cody, just let me and Randy handle this. And they challenged Solo and Jacob Fatu to a match later that night. But yeah, it's definitely looking like they were planting a little bit of tension between all three of these guys, but especially it looked like Randy and Cody.
Which also brings the idea that Cody's going to beat Roman Reigns again if they have another match. Mm-hmm. Which means that the next big thing that we're seeing here is a Randy versus Cody match after all that's popping off. Which, please let Randy win.
I think that's
very,
very unlikely.
I hope. That you can only hope.
You can only hope. All we have in this world is hope.
That's all we have. And with this storyline, everyone, I'm gonna stop myself there.
You're gonna get him heated. I'm
gonna go.
All right.
There's got to be someone.
Let's move on.
Gets where I'm going.
Let's move on. We found out who will be challenging Nia Jax for the women's championship at Bad Blood. Bayley and Naomi went one-on-one. Bayley picked up the victory in a classic match. They had a little backstage segment. It looked like maybe there was some tension between the two women, but they seemed to have gotten on the same page. We also saw backstage Nia Jax threatening Tiffany Stratton.
Planting seeds.
Saying that if things don't go right for Nia Jax at Bad Blood, Tiffany's going to pay for it. And Tiffany looked scared, but she also looked like maybe she was starting to have enough of the bullying from Nia Jax. And that brings me to I do still think by the end of the year it will be Tiffy time, and she will cash in that Money in the Bank.
It's
and become
definitely
women's
going to
champion
happen.
by the end of the year.
If it doesn't happen on Nia Jax, then that would be so surprising
Yeah, I think it will. I think it will be on Nia Jax,
which makes so much sense.
And I could see maybe Nia Jax taking a little bit of time off.
Yeah,
maybe coming back at the Rumble, not winning, maybe winning, but I don't think. But I would love to maybe see Nia Jax maybe win the Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
And then challenge Tiffany Stratton at WrestleMania.
I can see that. I feel like whoever wins the Royal Rumble for the women's, it could be either way. With
my pick right now, Jade Cargill.
I can see, yeah.
I think Jade Cargill's winning that thing.
Definitely. She went off in the Royal Rumble last year. She full on went off. She even eliminated Nia Jax herself. So
by herself.
Yeah. Just picked her up and threw her out.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Next match on SmackDown was Carmelo Hayes defeating Andrade. This was like match number 815th between the two.
Yep.
But LA Knight was a little involved. Yep. And Andrade did not appreciate it. There's definitely a lot of tension between the two. And it still looks like there is a triple threat match brewing between the three for the U.S. title.
You know, you said that once again for the millionth time. These guys go at it once again. But
they're putting on banger matches.
Every single time, it's a
banger
match. Which, I mean, this kind of reminds me of the days of Cesaro and Sheamus going on one.
And then became
tag team champions.
Crazy good tag team, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not seeing a tag team forming between these two. I'm just saying, like, it's sometimes it's good to have reoccurring matches, you know?
Yeah. Michin defeated Piper Nivens. So this upcoming Friday night is going to be a dumpster match between Michin and Chelsea Green. That's a match I'm very much looking forward to.
Didn't we see, like, a training video for Chelsea Green to get ready for a dumpster match?
Maybe. What I saw during this match, she brought out like a trash can and kind of stuff and was kind of parading around.
It might have been last week.
I don't remember.
But she definitely had like a training video where she
might have
trained in like the dumpster or whatever.
She might have.
I'm gonna search it up while you talk.
Main event match was Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu against Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. The Bloodline coming out on top. Definitely making them look dominant going towards Bad Blood. And it was Cody Rhodes that kind of caused the downfall for Owens and Orton. Rhodes, I believe, kind of got knocked into the ref. It was a whole thing.
Yeah, she trained for the dumpster match.
Did she? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
She's funny, man.
She's great. Chelsea Green's the best. But Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu picked up the victory. And that's just more tension between Cody Rhodes, Orton, and Kevin Owens.
Interesting, we did not see the Tribal Chief.
Not this episode.
That episode.
I'm going to take a bet. I think he'll be there this Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When is Bad Blood is this weekend, right?
It's this Saturday, yep.
Yep. What time is it?
In the evening sometime, 5 o'clock.
Great.
Monday Night Raw. This past Monday, September 30th, 2024, Jey Uso kicked off the show.
Crazy.
With the IC title. New-looking IC title with a little bit of blue added to it. We talked about this a little bit ago. I like it. I think it resembles kind of a lot of the old Intercontinental Championships. But he's interrupted by Braun Breaker. You know, Jey Uso's just trying to celebrate, talk about how much this victory meant to him, but then he's interrupted by Braun Breaker.
So, as I said before, we're going to talk about this a little later, and this is now the time to talk about with Braun Breaker. You could just tell that he got so humbled after losing that match.
Mm-hmm. Do you think a face turn's coming for Braun Breaker?
Possibly, because later that night, we see a backstage segment with him and Gunther. Which is potentially planting seeds for maybe he's the next challenger for Gunther after Sami Zayn or later on.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, we're seeing like a new side of Braun Breaker because when Braun Breaker had the championship, he was like, no one can beat me. I'm just the best there is. And he loses the first match after he says that.
Pretty much.
which is like a big humbling moment for Braun Breaker. So maybe we're going to see a new kind of mindset from him moving forward.
Now here's the
It's
thing.
very interesting.
It was revealed that unfortunately during a live event, Ilya Dragunov tore his ACL.
Sad.
He's going to be gone for 6 to 9 months. And I had mentioned in episodes prior that he was my prediction of winning the Rumble because I thought maybe they were going to go Gunther versus Dragunov. That's obviously not going to happen.
Maybe we'll see it. Oh, man,
Now,
it just really sucks.
Now, Braun Breaker is now, for me, looking more likely being the winner.
By more like he's going to be the replacement.
Yeah, he's the one that's going to win the Rumble and take on Gunther at Mania.
I can see it.
I really think they should use this Rumble as to send off someone who hasn't hit that
for real
heights quite yet. Because Cody Rhodes, and I get the story and all that, I completely understand. But I really think they should use this next Rumble as a star-making moment for someone.
I agree. We both thought that Dragunov was going to be that winner. By the looks of it, maybe that was to plan the company.
Maybe.
It's just so disappointing how stuff like this can happen. Mm-hmm. Speedy recovery to
Ilya Dragunov.
But
we're going to get that match someday. It's going to happen.
It's going to happen soon.
Maybe SummerSlam next year.
The thing I'm
whatever.
afraid of is that the crowd is going to lose their fire for Dragunov since he's going to be gone for so long. Or
they'll have to try and hype him back up again.
Or it's going to be so hype when he returns. But it's either way, Mm-hmm. Maybe he'll show up at the next Rumble. Who knows?
We'll see.
But it just really sucks.
Yeah. So, anyways, Braun Breaker came out, basically just stated how much he respects Jey Uso now.
Yeah.
And we saw backstage he confronted Gunther. It does look like we're going to get a babyface Braun Breaker turn.
Yeah. A lot of baby faces coming.
Yeah. Xavier Woods went one-on-one with Rey Mysterio.
Yes, this was probably
a little bit of controversy.
A lot of little controversy, yeah. During the match, Xavier unintentionally took off the mask of Rey Mysterio.
He wouldn't do something like that, would he?
By looking at his reaction after the match, I don't think it was on purpose. But who knows?
You know how much this match meant to Woods. Getting a big win over Mysterio would be huge. Mysterio, former multi-time world champion, Royal Rumble winner, WWE Hall of Famer. This match was huge for Woods. And he got a win. He pinned a former world champion, one of the greatest of all time. Just maybe not the way he had hoped.
And it led to a lot of boos from the crowd.
Yeah.
So we're definitely seeing...
When was the last time you saw Xavier Woods get booed? Like that.
Whenever the New Day was heel, I guess.
I guess that was when the New Day started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad, man.
Yeah. But we do see... I'll head on later because Kofi will have his match in a little bit.
Yeah.
Zoe Stark and Lyra Valkyria is the next match. And I got a little bit to say about this. Okay, so Zoe Stark came out with Pure Fusion Collective. And everybody knew they were going to get involved.
Yeah.
And which they did, which caused Zoe Stark to win the match.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started to try and beat up Lyra Valkyria, and out come Katana Chance and Kaden Carter making their big return.
Yep.
Why didn't Katana Chance and Kaden Carter come out with Lyra Valkyria to begin with and already just have her give the backup? Why did they wait till after the match knowing that Pure Fusion Collective was going to try and get involved and not already be out there to try and minimize that?
I don't know.
I feel like that's a great question.
That is a pretty good question.
Why did they... Or we're just like, we're not going to go out there with you. But if they try anything after the match, we'll come help you. But during the match, you're on your own.
That's a very good point.
I was watching that. I was like, why didn't they just find her backstage and just be like, hey, we're going to go out there with you just in case something happens and you have a little bit of backup. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
That's a very interesting thing
when
they
they came out and I think it was Shayna Baszler had Katana Chance in like a headlock, and Caden Carter was in the ring, looked at them, saw it happen, but did nothing to help Katana Chance, and went and tried to beat up somebody else.
Really?
That was already like on the ground.
Did she really?
She just like looked at her, and it's like, why didn't you just go do something?
I don't know.
It was just a weird moment.
Yeah, it didn't really hit me as hard as it did some people.
Yeah.
With their return.
All right, so here we go. One last promo. One last confrontation for CM Punk and Drew McIntyre before Bad Blood.
Inside the cage.
Inside the original cage. Not that red monstrosity that we've had to endure for the past few years.
Yeah, you sent me a text.
I hated it. I've always hated it.
You were like, they brought the old cage
Dude,
back.
finally, they just painted it silver again. I'm so thankful. They had security guards in between them.
Yep.
You had that one guy telling them to punk it back off.
I was about to say it.
I sent you a picture. It's like, who does this guy think he is?
Who does he think he is? Is he the next like big wrestler?
He could be the next world champion.
He could be the next Ty Dillinger.
For real.
Next Sean Spears.
For real. But yeah, each of them got their final words to each other. Heading into Bad Blood, looking like this is going to be the end of this rivalry, in my opinion, still the rivalry of the year. And I think it's going to deliver. Next match was six-man tag Judgment Day defeating the LWO. And after the match is when you kind of had the chaos reign between Judgment Day and the Terror Twins.
Definitely.
You had Rhea Ripley trying to lock Dominic inside the shark cage. Liv trying to help out. You had Priest doing his best to try and fight off the Judgment Day, but the numbers game was just too much.
It's very... I don't know. It just seems repetitive from like the last time that they keep getting overcome by the Judgment Day from the numbers game. I get that they're trying to push their dominance now. The question is that can this last after Bad Blood? That's the question for me.
We'll see. I got a little bit to talk about that in a little bit as we get on. Next match was Chad Gable and Kofi Kingston. Now, I think it was before, you had Kofi Kingston saying that he was able to get Xavier Woods a title match against Jey Uso next week.
Very interesting.
Xavier Woods was pretty hyped about that.
Which I'm sure we're all going to see a new side of Xavier Woods at some point during that match.
But during this match, unfortunately, Chad Gable was able to pick up the W against the Kofi Kingston of the New Day. And Xavier Woods didn't necessarily help matters. There was definitely still, again, a lot of friction. And this is the question that I got for you. Do you think they will pull yes or no? Do you think they will pull the trigger? Do you think Xavier Woods will turn on Kofi Kingston?
Like this next Raw?
Just in general, do you think in the near future, this year, before the end of the year, do you think Xavier Woods will turn on Kofi Kingston?
Yeah. I think so.
Now,
because they're pushing this so far, and this is like such like a big storyline in Raw.
Now, notice another thing that they've really, even the commentators have kind of been mentioning for the past few months, weeks, is they're really hitting on that this is like the 10-year anniversary of the New Day.
Do you think it'll happen on the anniversary?
So I think they're going to do some big celebration.
And it's going to happen.
Big E will be there, and that's when Xavier Woods is going to do it.
I completely agree.
That's the best place for him to do it.
That's what I was thinking the entire time they kept bringing up his anniversary stuff. I'm like, it's probably going to happen here. Mm-hmm. I just never really thought about saying it because I keep forgetting that it happens on there. But every single time they bring it up, I'm like, that's probably going to happen.
Probably when it's going to happen.
But, yeah, I completely agree with you on that. Mm-hmm. To answer your question, yes, I think it will happen before the end of the year. I think it will happen soon. They're just pushing it so much now that they're even putting 2 matches into the match card to push this. So, I can see it.
Yeah. Sami Zayn and Gunther once again confronting one another.
Yep.
And Sami Zayn finally says what we've been saying all along, that Gunther is scared of Sami Zayn because Sami Zayn beat him at WrestleMania, and Gunther is terrified that it'll happen again for the world title. But finally, Gunther has enough, and he just puts a beating on Sami, and finally agrees and gives him the match.
It took a beating to give him the shot. So,
yeah.
First of all,
now it's not happening at Bad Blood. It's happening next week on Raw.
Yeah. I was
Make that
about
clear.
to say it's happening on Raw, which is interesting. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that Gunther's probably going to win this match.
Most likely, yeah.
The question is there going to be anything special that happens in this match?
Interference or anything like that. I got you. Next match was AOP, Authors of Pain, against Awesome Truth.
This is the biggest takeaway of the night, in my opinion.
Ooh.
One of the biggest.
Okay.
For those that do not know, the reason that AOP won their match is because The Miz betrayed R-Truth.
And you've been saying for a while, you're like, as much as I love R-Truth and this whole Awesome Truth thing, it's starting to run its course.
Yeah. This is probably the best thing.
Do you think Miz is going to join Karrion Kross?
Yeah, that's what I was about to point out. I was like, this is also probably going to be the second, well, I guess, first of group that he's going to split up.
Because he's gotten involved in New Day business, and he's gotten involved in Awesome Truth business.
Is this going to lead to him breaking up many tag teams?
I don't know. And are these guys, are like Miz and Xavier Woods potentially, are they going to go off on their own, or are they like going to join Karrion Kross and make this whole super group, or what's the case there?
I don't think we're going to have a super group. Maybe like the person that turns on him will be in the super group, maybe. Or
do you think the whole Karrion Kross deal is he just enjoys breaking groups up?
Yeah,
he just that's it gives him satisfaction.
I was about to say, I think that after the New Day stuff, if he involves more in it, then at some point the Superstar shakeup will come and he'll go on to SmackDown to do things there as well, DIY and things like that.
DIY, that's a good, yeah.
So, because I don't really think there's any other groups on Raw specifically that he can break up besides from those two.
Yeah.
At least none that I can think of right now. Maybe he's going to try Wyatt 6 and then he just completely backfires on him.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about Wyatt 6 later, actually.
Yeah. Main event time. Last monster standing. Big Bronson Reed versus Braun Strowman.
I love this main event. It was exciting. It was entertaining.
Okay, when they broke through the barricade, were those real fans that got hurt? Surely not.
I doubt it.
Surely they were planted.
They definitely planted that.
Surely, because that's lawsuits waiting to happen.
Because
there were, if that was the case, there would have been security guards there to push people back.
Yeah, we would have seen something in the
They wouldn't let something like that happen.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, it did. I admit, it caught me off guard. And I was did they legit just like hurt fans? And like, are they about to get a lawsuit?
Yeah, I don't think it is.
But yeah, it was chaotic.
It's funny that you point that out though, because they also brought fans in from previous matches when they were
throwing fans out.
So I like how they're bringing like the destruction anywhere, and they're bringing fans into it as well.
So it was destruction pretty much all around. Security guards were there. There were big men jumping off the top rope onto the security guards. And if you notice the ring, the posts weren't having like the whole LED, screen stuff. It was just normal posts. So
kind of gave a hint.
Of what was to come.
If you're not like a person that notices stuff like that, this probably completely caught you off guard. Mm-hmm. As soon as I saw Braun Strowman getting onto that top turnbuckle, though, I was like, it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. Big suplex off the top rope.
Yeah. The craziest thing, though, in that match specifically was whenever Braun Strowman jumped off the top
onto the security
guards. And I thought at first I thought it was on top of Adam Pearce as well, and we are going to see some stuff with that, but then I saw that he moved out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
But either way,
Bronson Reed was putting his hands on Adam Pearce. And I'll give it to Adam Pearce. He doesn't put up with that kind of stuff.
He doesn't.
He's like, do not put your hands on me.
Are we going to see Adam Pearce in the ring?
Not against Bronson Reed. Surely not. He's smarter than that.
I'm just messing with that. But anyways, as soon as I saw someone running from the stage, I was like,
there he is.
I know who that
there
is.
He is.
I know who that is.
The GOAT.
For those that do not know, the ring's completely collapsed. There's a steel steps on there. Ref is counting, right?
Here's the thing. For some reason, I should have gone back and watched this before. So it was Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins returned.
Yeah, Seth Rollins returned. Curb stomped him onto the steel steps.
Now,
right before he got up.
Correct us if we're wrong. I can't remember. If the ref was already counting before Seth Rollins came in. Because the way it's supposed to work
is if they get hit.
If they get hit, they restart the count.
Well,
you're not supposed to continue the count.
I think it's only if like the superstar they're going against touches them. But
I don't know.
Maybe that's what they're going off of. Maybe the ref just didn't notice it happen. I don't know.
The ref did get knocked out of the ring, so during the collapse, so maybe he was a little fuzzy.
He just wanted to get out of there.
He's like, let's get this match over with.
He's like, I don't care about the rules.
I want to say the ref was already counting by the time Seth Rollins came in.
Because right whenever he did is whenever he like did.
Yeah, because like I remember when he did it, it was like a few counts and then the match was over.
Yeah.
So the ref had to have started counting already.
Which first of all, that's awesome that Seth's back.
Yeah,
leads to a lot more stuff. Maybe it's gonna lead to CM Punk and Seth after the match on Bad Blood.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll see some Seth Rollins, Bronson Reed stuff. Mm-hmm. Maybe Braun Strowman stuff as
There's
well.
There's a lot of Braun's. Braun Breaker.
I'm
Strowman,
sorry, y'all.
Bronson Reed.
We have Braun. Maybe we should call this the Braun episode.
The Braun Show.
The Braun Show. Either way.
But that kind of that sums up all the recaps. Hit on a bit of the Uncle Howdy stuff.
So I was going to point this out in the middle of our final match. But earlier that night, we see a QR code that talks about, well, first of all, the video that it shows.
Yes.
What I forgot. It was like saying stuff about we'll pull it up. We can all tell that the video is directing towards Braun Strowman, though.
See, here's what I'm thinking is I could see potentially them coming after Sami Zayn next week during his world title shot. So, again, we're still going off of, are they going after people that have turned against their groups? You know what I'm saying? Their family.
Yeah.
And obviously Sami Zayn turned against the bloodline. I could see that being a possibility, but I definitely think we're going to see, they got to interact with Braun Strowman at some point. Like, obviously there's a story there. There's some stuff you can work with.
It was talking about, like, rage and anger and how that's, like, going to lead to their downfall, and that do not force our hand is what they're saying as well. Yeah, it was like saying, like, do not go down this path and stuff like that. It's like saying, like, the anger is going to control them. Yeah. So my initial thing was, like, Braun Strowman's going to go too far in this match tonight, and that's going to lead to them showing up. But clearly they went a different route with Seth Rollins coming there. Mm-hmm. I scanned the QR code that showed up in the video.
It definitely looks like, I believe, in my opinion, that for the most part, Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed, that rivalry's done.
Yeah.
It's looking like they're going to go Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
And now, where do you put Braun Strowman? Maybe with the Wyatt Six.
I mean, like, the video gave the QR code, and the QR code said, here, I'll go ahead and show it on the screen, actually. You can see it. You refuse salvation. Do not force our... Why my phone turned? Do not force our hand. The reckoning is here. So whenever I saw the reckoning is here, I thought it's happening tonight. Mm-hmm.
Which it says you refuse salvation, so it makes me think they offered something.
Yeah. And
Braun Strowman maybe denied it, or somebody denied it.
Well, didn't they have like a whole thing with like Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman whenever Bray Wyatt had the title
during the pandemic?
Yeah. Do you think it's referring to that? Maybe
it's possible because like the Fiend, as Bray Wyatt is the Fiend, he offered.
Yeah.
You know, to help Braun Strowman. He wanted them to join him. Yeah. And Braun Strowman didn't.
That's actually interesting you said Sami Zayn, because that also could happen. But I feel like with these videos, it doesn't really match what's happening with Sami Zayn. We could be completely wrong though.
We could be misinterpreting all of this.
Yeah, let us know if
What
we're
you think?
being
What you think?
stupid idiots.
Stupid idiots.
If you know what I just referred to there, you are a goat.
A goat.
Anyways, I don't know if you know what's happening. Let us know in the comments. But we're really confused with what's happening here.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting that they are still putting all this video stuff up with the White Sticks not actually showing them in the shows, which is interesting. But I guess that also adds more suspense to their group, as if like you never know when they're going to show up. But who knows? That's our recaps.